Now, you lovely students and your notes help me update courses. I don't know if you're aware of this, but Udemy shows tutors helpfully how many notes and at which points students have made in the videos. So I can see what's been of most value to you and also which lessons have maybe bored the pants off you, and then I can do something about it. Now, courses are something I write, but this idea of specifically measuring value in your work can extend to all sorts of writing, whatever you're doing. After all, we writers have an exchange with our reader, listener, or viewer. You give us your time and attention, and we promise to entertain, enlighten, or educate you in return. We may not like the idea of a poem or our great work of literature being transactional in this way, but when we transport our readers to a fantastical and gripping world of our creation, or write a poem that makes them stop and think, I never saw the world like this, we give them something of value. An escape from everyday life, maybe, a surge of powerful emotion, a reset of their mental browser. Just a pause, perhaps, and a ponder. If we publish our writing on Amazon and lend our books out there on Kindle, we can see how many pages our readers have digested. If we publish on Kindle to sell, we can see what's been bookmarked and how many times. In his extremely useful book called, funnily enough, Write Useful Books, Rob Fitzpatrick describes front-loading your book with value to completely engage your reader. This radically alters the way non-fiction books were traditionally written, with the theory for the thesis at the front of the book and quite a lot of dense reading often before the reader gets any sort of payoff. You maybe get the potted history of the subject and context and potted history of the author before you get to the now here's something interesting for you bit, by which time, well, Rob suggests using word count to measure the distance between points of value for the reader. And this got me thinking, could you do this for other forms of writing too? Now, I love good crime writing, and legendary teacher Catherine Stansfield recommended this book by Jim Thompson. So I thought I'd use it as material for some helpful writing practice, and I invite you to do the same with a book that you love. First, here's the opening of the story. An opening statement that's most relatable. Many of us will have eaten a pie and had a second cup of coffee. Jim Thompson immediately puts us into the setting, midnight freight and near the depot. Then a moment of drama, the face retreating into the shadows, and these gripping sentences. But I knew he was still there. I knew he was waiting. In this fine first paragraph, we are pulled right into the hunt. And then there's a compelling character insight to end the paragraph. The bums always size me up for an easy mark. So the value I get from this is that my curiosity is immediately aroused, as is my imagination. I can picture the setting and the face in the shadows, and I like this character with their self-effacing humour, and I'm already starting to care about how they will fare in the hunt. So Jim Thompson has done all that in this opening paragraph. I'd like to invite you now to write an opening, bearing in mind the values of curiosity and imagination that you're going to create in it for your reader, and also maybe something about the character that is going to make the reader be interested in them in some way. So 3 values there: curiosity, imagination, and character. In part 2 of this investigation, I'm going to take us to the Killer Inside's Me popular highlights on Kindle, copy the ones I like best, and then try and write similar sentences myself. Kindle tells me the most popular highlight is: a weed is a plant out of place. Let me repeat that. A weed is a plant out of place. I find a hollyhock in my cornfield and it's a weed. I find it in my yard and it's a flower. So, which writer and what book will you do this with? If your writing ambitions include several role models, you may find it interesting to combine a couple of them and look for what's similar and different about their most popular sentences. Before we finish this lesson, here are a couple more thoughts about writing and value. Poems. Billy Collins, much-loved former poet laureate in the US, suggests opening lines of poems are best thought of as welcome mats. Lines that say, "Hey, hello, this is where we're at, come on in." Here are some welcome mat examples from him. And for more thoughts on value in writing, I love both these books for different reasons. Ryan Holiday's perennial seller, The Art of Making and Marketing Work That Lasts. Here's one of his popular highlights from 420 readers. I really recommend this book for anybody doing anything creative with words. And finally, Stephen Pressfield's Nobody Wants to Read Your ... which, as you can almost certainly gather from the title, is straight talking and practical, and especially helpful to screenwriters. I'll leave the final thought from the 1,151 readers who highlighted this. I do hope you enjoy experiments in your own writing using these ideas. Meanwhile, I'm off to combine Jim Thompson with Jane Austen. Look out for the killer in your stately home, coming soon.